Hello, so today we're going to do a little bit of visual mapping with colours to explore the function of the use of a behaviour to feel something and starting to think a bit about other things we can do to seek similar sensations that don't hurt us in the process. So I've started to pre-map out, and what I've drawn is like some boxes to represent sort of like how I'm feeling, a behaviour that I use to try and change how I'm feeling, and what that feeling is I'm seeking for the use of that behaviour, okay? So let's say I've mapped it out using red. Let's say I'm feeling really angry, or it could be anything. It could be I'm feeling really like lonely, it can be, and all the colours might be slightly different. But for this one I've used like I'm feeling angry, and I've mapped that out as red, okay? And in order to cope with my anger, let's use a bit more red to map that out, I might use a certain behaviour to try and express some of that anger, but that behaviour might be a behaviour that somehow hurts me in the process, okay? But it's a reasonable thing to do, to want to kind of like not feel the way you're feeling and to try to find something to cope, okay? And through the use of the behaviour, I'm trying to seek feeling calmer, okay, which I've used kind of a purple to represent. So often when I'm doing with this in a session with a client, what I am trying to figure out is what's the function of the behaviour that's being used. What am I trying to feel? How do I want to feel? What's hard about this feeling that means I'm having to use something to kind of escape it or to move into a different state? And, you know, it's reasonable. We all want to probably feel, no one wants to feel angry all the time or lonely or whatever the situation, the feeling might be. It's very reasonable for us to want to feel better, right? A lot of behaviours that we use, even if they're harmful, are an attempt for us to try to feel better. So what I will often try and do is figure out a way of, like, is there another point in your life that you do feel a similar sensation to what it is that you're seeking at the end of this kind of behavioural cycle, behavioural pattern? So often what might come up is like someone might be like, you know what, yeah, like once we've identified that we're trying to feel a bit calmer, a person might say something, you know what, when I'm listening to music actually, I do feel a bit calmer. Or when I'm I don't know, let's say meditating or something, I might feel a bit calmer, or whatever it might be, okay? So what we're trying to help people see and understand is that we can use a different implementation of a behaviour, okay? So I'm feeling angry, and actually rather than that being a cue to implement the unhelpful behaviour that hurts me in the process, I can use this as a choice point to implement a different behaviour, like I'm gonna go outside, take a walk, put on Spotify or whatever it might be, okay? So different behaviour, similar outcome of a feeling, okay? So I still end up feeling calm, but just through a different route of behaviour. So I hope that made sense. I do a lot of mapping like this with people I support, so I will do more of these videos, but I'd be very curious to hear if that landed. Does that make sense? Yeah,